So let's talk about OpenAI. In a move that pretty much nobody saw coming, the company famous for keeping its AI models under lock and key just did a complete 180. They've released some seriously powerful new AI models out into the open source world. This is the story of their biggest gamble yet, what they're calling GPT-OSS. And right away, that single action brings us to the huge central question of this whole explainer. When you hand an AI this powerful to literally anyone who wants it, is that a gift that's going to supercharge innovation for everybody, or is it a threat just waiting to be misused? Okay, so before we can even begin to answer that, we've got to get our heads around what we're actually dealing with here. What exactly did OpenAI unleash, and what in the world does open weight even mean?
The best analogy I've heard is this. A proprietary model, like GPT-4, is like the secret recipe for a world-famous dish. You get to taste it, but you have no clue how it's made. Open weight models, they're the exact opposite. It's like the chef decided to publish the entire cookbook for the world. OpenAI has handed over the key ingredients and instructions, what we call the model weights. So now any developer can study them, tweak them, and cook up their own unique AI.
And inside this new cookbook, OpenAI gave us two main recipes. First, you've got GPT-OSS-120B. This thing is a total powerhouse, packing almost 117 billion parameters. Then you have its smaller, more efficient sibling, GPT-OSS-20B, coming in at around 21 billion parameters. They're both built from the same blueprint, just, at a wildly different scale.
And that shared blueprint is based on a really cool idea called Mixture of Experts, or MOE for short. Now, instead of one giant AI brain trying to tackle every single problem thrown at it, think of it more like a specialized team. When a query comes in, a smart router directs the problem to the 4 best experts on the team for that specific job. It's a clever approach that makes the model both incredibly capable and surprisingly fast.
Okay, so we know it's big, and we know its architecture is smart. But the million-dollar question is, how good is it really? Let's take a look at the performance benchmarks, because this is where the story starts to get seriously interesting. First up, let's throw some seriously tough, competition-level math at it. On the AMA 2025 benchmark, the big GPT-OS model scores a stunning 97.9. I mean, look at that. It doesn't just leave older models like O3 Mini in the dust, it's practically breathing down the neck of the super-capable O4 Mini. This thing is, without a doubt, a world-class reasoning engine.
And we see pretty much the same story when we look at competitive coding. On the Codeforces benchmark, GPT-OSS-120B once again leapfrogs past the old guard and is right there in the mix with Palm 4 Mini. The takeaway here is crystal clear. This isn't just another open-source model being tossed over the fence. This is a top-tier performer in both complex reasoning and coding.
But his power doesn't just stop there. With the stuff we'd expect, like math and code, it actually ventures into a domain that's, well, let's just say it's surprisingly critical.
And here it is, healthcare. On HealthBench, which measures how well an AI handles realistic health conversations, GPT-OSS-120B scores a really impressive 57.6. That puts it almost shoulder to shoulder with the powerful O3 model and makes it way better than other frontier models like GPT-4o on this test. Now just imagine the incredible global benefits of making this level of health intelligence open to everyone. But as you can probably guess, it also raises the stakes a lot.
Which brings us right to the absolute crux of this story. A model this powerful, this capable, now out there for anyone to download, demands the ultimate safety test. Could it be twisted to do harm? OpenAI decided to run the gauntlet themselves to find out.
And to their credit, OpenAI was incredibly direct about this risk. They put it right there in their own documentation, saying that bad actors could try to fine-tune the model to make it do harmful things. This wasn't some hypothetical, hand-wavy concern. It was the core challenge they knew they had to face head-on before hitting release. So what did they do? They decided to become the villain. They put on their black hat and they tried to break their own model to see just how dangerous it could get in the wrong hands before someone else had the chance.
The technical term for this is adversarial fine-tuning. But here's what it means in plain English. First, they took the standard out-of-the-box model. Then, they gathered a bunch of data related to harmful topics, specifically biological and cyber threats. Third, they used advanced training methods to essentially teach the model to say yes to unsafe requests. And finally, they took this newly hacked model and put it through a battery of high-stakes safety tests. And they didn't pull any punches. They focused their most intense efforts on two of the biggest fears out there. Could this AI help someone create a biological or chemical weapon? And could it help them pull off a sophisticated cyber attack? I mean, these are the real nightmare scenarios.
So, this all leads to the big climax of the story. After trying their absolute hardest to make their own model dangerous, what was the final verdict? Did it pass this crazy, unprecedented safety test? And here it is, the critical result. The fear was that an attacker could take this model and push it into a high-risk category for creating bioweapons or launching cyber attacks. The finding, even after OpenAI intentionally tried to make it harmful using their own state-of-the-art techniques, the model did not cross that high-capability threshold, not for biosecurity and not for cybersecurity. That is a huge deal. Okay, so that is a massive sigh of relief. But it doesn't answer the whole safety question. Even if this model isn't a high-risk weapon on its own, did its release just raise the danger level for the entire open-source ecosystem?
To figure that out, OpenAI compared GPT-OSS against other powerful models that were already out there in the wild. And what they found was really telling. On most of these biosecurity evaluations, other models, some that have been public for a while, already performed at about the same level. So the final conclusion is pretty stark. While this new model is very powerful, it doesn't actually represent a significant leap forward for hazardous uses. The existing risk landscape hasn't been fundamentally changed by this release.
And that brings us right back to where we started, but now with a totally new perspective. OpenAI's big gamble seems to suggest that you can release a powerful open model without it being an uncontrollable threat. But, and this is a big but, it also places the responsibility squarely on the shoulders of the entire community. The genie is well and truly out of the bottle now. So the question for all of us is, how do we build the right guardrails, do the right research, and create the right collaborations to make sure this incredible new power actually benefits everyone?